Any additions, subtractions?
Any corrections to the May 8th meeting minutes?
Sorry.
Motion?
Have a motion, second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. There we go, the minutes. So the approval of tonight's agenda. Okay, a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. At this time, we'll have public comment on the agenda items only. If you have something to say. Yes, Ann?
Last month you didn't have a supervisor's report, but I had a few things I was wondering about, thought you would cover.
Is that on the agenda?
So, has the owner of the Coral Elevator been contacted yet?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Not yet.
Has the person that installed the door been contacted yet?
Have we contacted
I have not, no. We have a quote from somebody else.
Mr. Okay.
But you're not gonna try to get the other guy to finish his work or do it properly?
That would be the best, right?
Yeah, if you talk to him, he might actually come and do it. Worst he can do is tell you to pack it up in your head.
The last thing that we got was that he said that there was no fixing it because the cement was crooked.
Yeah, which is lack of skill or something.
Okay. Do you know who's gonna be doing the forensic audit yet?
That will be farther down in the, that's under the old business this
Okay.
week.
Did you have somebody do the biannual audit in May?
Is that on the?
It does not get done in May. That is when it starts.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant, when it starts.
So it has not started yet because there's a lot of information that has to be gathered first to take to Lake Michigan CPA. And then they have to schedule it, and they usually schedule it in July or August.
Okay, just curious. I was under the impression it needed to be, everything to them by May.
Apparently you have different information than I do because that's not what they've said to me.
Well, excuse me. Could all of the information that the board reviews and discusses at your meetings, could that be listed on the website before your meeting so that the public has a chance to look at it and review it?
Such as what?
I mean, like you talk about, I don't know, different things that you get, that you're looking at, you're trying to vote on. And, you know, I mean, I think that we should have the right to see that too. I'm not asking it to be printed off by any means, that's a waste of trees. But if it was at least available for all of us to see too, that would be nice.
Are you looking for the agenda?
No, the things like, you have packets of things you discuss,
Oh,
those
these,
packet items, yeah, that's what I'm talking
well, these are mostly, what's on the agenda tonight, so all that's in the packet.
about. Okay, you discuss it, it sounds like there's more than that to it, but, all right, I was just curious if you could do that or not. That's all I got for right now.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Do we have any more? Okay. We'll go on to the supervisor's report. First off, I think, has anybody noticed how the cemeteries look? I think we need a round of applause for all those that were. Steve and Julie and, oh my gosh, they did so much work. And,
Thank you all.
it's,
Yes, that's great.
it's a work in process yet. There's there's quite a bit in our dream category yet. But they've done a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and we appreciate that very much. We had a successful memorial service. I want to thank Val for, my sister for all the hard work that she put into that. The kids were awesome. The raising of the flag was beautiful. The sermon was appropriate. And I enjoyed the root beer floats. E Street in Truefit, we're looking at that, Mark and I. We have a drainage problem. Hopefully that'll be rectified soon, behind the restaurant over there. And I believe that's all I can share right now. And we don't have a treasurer, so what do we want to do about treasurer's report?
I'll say there's no.
We have no treasurer and we have no deputy treasurer, it's a problem.
Where is our treasurer?
We don't know, we haven't been able to contact her for,
She doesn't respond to text or emails.
Or emails.
for how many days?
5?
So, it's another thing to work on.
Because I emailed asking for deposit information while trying to reconcile the books and don't have deposit clarification for a deposit in April and 2 of them in May. And on the actual budget report that you guys have, you'll see a miscellaneous income line that is highlighted because I don't know where to put that income because I don't know where it was from. It's at the back of your packet, so.
Yes, I saw that.
So I don't know where.
So where are we gonna go with
where
this?
that was, so.
Where are we gonna go with this then? Is there any, we can't get ahold of the treasurer, she's not, responding. Is there any,
Not that I'm aware of.
shall we, check with our lawyer about what we can do about that?
Okay.
We're kind of in a pickle, we have nobody to sign the checks, don't we?
That is correct.
We're not gonna get paid. Okay.
More importantly, no way to pay our bills.
There's no way to pay our bills, not okay.
That's
We
ridiculous.
have
That's
no,
not okay.
we have no deputy treasurer, and we have no treasurer.
That's just ridiculous.
Is that gonna cause late fees on our bills? Is it gonna cause late fees?
Could. No.
Eventually,
Eventually it will, yeah.
we'll try to find a way to do it before that.
I've got a hold of her, nobody get a hold of her, it's their job,
Yeah,
And then
been screwing around long enough.
so the only way to remove her, or, we can't really appoint another treasurer, because that's, we can't appoint a treasurer, we can't appoint a deputy treasurer. The treasurer's responsibility to appoint a deputy treasurer. So we're in a pickle. The only way to remove her is, a recall or a signed, removal by the governor of Michigan, which is pretty drastic. So, I guess the bills don't get paid, we'll keep you posted on what we're doing with that.
we'll read the bills and approve them.
We can approve, okay. If we wanna read the bills, we'll, yes. Can't approve the treasurer's report, obviously. It's on the back, thanks. Have you looked at the bills?
Can't read it.
Do I have support?
Second.
We have a motion and a support to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Clerk's report.
The biggest thing I want to let everyone know is we have a new website address, and it is live. It is maplevalleytwpmi.gov, and you'll find that listed on the agenda as well, so that you can go to that and look. The .com will work for another 6 months or so, so that if people go to it, eventually they will be redirected. We're working on that right now. And we're getting more photos of around. We have stump fence photography taking pictures for us. We can have some different headers and other things, like the pictures of the cemeteries and updating things of that nature. With the new website, with the .gov, is more secure, so if we eventually would like to go to online payments for taxes or any other things of that nature, then it is more secure for that. With that being said, one of the things that I had proposed was when we go to a .gov is to get everybody new email addresses so that we have email addresses that stay with positions. We would do this through Google Workspace, and the least expensive edition of that is $6 a user a month, is what I'm looking at. And then they have the proper way to connect the domain and computer speak that I don't understand, that the website people do, that will talk me through it, of how to do that. And then for those of us who would like to get Google Voice, then we can tie that to, it'd be a separate phone number, so like the clerk could have their own phone number that would stay with the clerk's position. The supervisor could have a number that would stay with the supervisor's position. And that's an add-on subscription, and that can be for as little as $10 a user a month. Is that something the board would like to entertain me doing and going forward with?
I think that's a great idea.
Need any,
That way we can keep our own private numbers separate. Oh, you probably don't get, do you get calls?
Not often.
Yeah.
but it would be available for anyone that would,
And it's also good for it to stay with the township
with the position.
when they fire me.
What's the overall cost?
It would be, for the Google Workspace, it's $6 a user per month, and I'm not sure, I haven't gone on there to start it yet to see if that's like per email address, but I believe that that is the case. And then, like I said, if we want to use the Google Voice, we can get that for $10
Per
per number.
month, per,
Yeah, per month, per number, which is pretty cheap. But want to do that. I am working on the newsletter to go out with the taxes. With the tax bills, we got the cost for that. That is with KCI. It was only going to cost us $546.45. I got a quote from them because we're already paying for postage for the tax bills to go out. So that's just for them to print it, set it up, and to put it on Astra Bright paper. So that would go out to 1,554 people or parcels. It's going out to every taxpayer. And working on that to get out the new .gov and information about the fall cleanup and any other contact information about us and information about the new assessor and cemetery rules.
it's an updated newsletter.
Yeah, basically updating it, and that newsletter, once it's finished, will also be put on the website for everybody to be able to see as well. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, because I contacted KCI myself to find out kind of specs of how they needed it set up, because I couldn't get a hold of the treasurer regarding that. So they said they hadn't heard from her and needed to know that, so they could set aside time for publishing and putting it on. So I have to have that newsletter to them by Wednesday, because taxes are due to them by Friday. And the other thing is, oh, sorry,
Taxes are, the tax bills are due to
the tax bills are due to the printer by Friday.
And we don't know who the treasurer is.
That is correct. And the third thing I just wanted to throw out there, just so everybody knew, is I have been in contact with Corrigan Propane, who is our propane provider, and they do a pre-buy program, but it won't come out until late July or August, so we can look at that when that comes out. And that's what I have at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. We have a report from the county commissioner there,
Can I start with the fire department first?
Yes.
That's the easiest lifting, the county stuff might get a little heavy. So, on the fire department side, the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant Program was adopted by the state 6 weeks or so ago, and it provides for $10,000 for municipal, local fire departments and grant money. So I had requested Maple Valley Township sign a letter of support for Lakeview District Fire to apply for that, and graciously got that signed here tonight, so we're good to go on that. Appreciate that, thank you. Secondly, is it Coral's Day or Coral Days?
Coral Days.
Coral Days.
I think it's Coral Day.
Coral Days.
Coral Days.
D-A-Z-E.
With an apostrophe for-
And it's
for-
D-A-Z-E.
D-A-Z,
Mhm.
very good. Is there gonna be a parade? The fire department, we've been talking about it in our meetings. Are you gonna need anything from us as far as the
We
parade?
do not have anything to do with it.
We don't have anything to do with that, that's,
Kevin.
what's his name? Steve?
Kevin Hanlon.
Oh,
Kevin
okay.
Hanlon.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're certainly willing to participate if we know about it and are needed, so. if
We haven't heard anything from them, so
If you hear, anybody in here hears and pass that on, contact us if you need something from the fire department. On the county commissioner side of things, we met today, we had quite a lengthy discussion about the blight ordinance. I gave you kind of the down and dirty where that stands. So, to back up, if you remember, the county had a blight ordinance on the books, and a colleague of mine wanted to give it some more teeth, and the sheriff happened to be in the audience at that time, and he said that he had it under control, he had a plan in place. If you needed something to call them and they would handle it, so that's where it stood. And then the county attorney reached out, or the controller contacted, and he said that wasn't enforceable because the county doesn't have countywide zoning, so therefore we can't have the blight ordinance. So that started the ball rolling that we were gonna sponsor, if you will, a new ordinance that all the townships would adopt as their own. It would be the same, but all the townships would adopt that ordinance and that would suffice. Well, then we started having questions from townships as to, they didn't like that ordinance, they didn't like that template. But more importantly, they wondered why we were fixing something that wasn't broke, because the sheriff in the meantime indicated that he was continuing to write violations under the old ordinance, and he wasn't about to stop because the county attorney said so. As long as the judge was still taking those complaints, he was gonna continue to write those ordinances. So we were getting pushback from two different sides. Why spend the time and money trying to reinvent this if there's one on the books that's perfectly viable? So we invited the sheriff and the district judge at our meeting today to discuss it, figure out where we go from there. The judge isn't allowed to discuss it because it's an ordinance on the books that he adjudicates, and so he wouldn't discuss it, but the sheriff was there, and so we had a lengthy discussion about where we go. He believes that he would feel comfortable continuing to write citations under that ordinance, and that the judge and magistrate would continue to take those cases. One thing that was pointed out today that I think is a little bit cumbersome at the township level is the prosecutor is also there, and she believes that if it's a township ordinance that we are proposing, that she would prosecute those. That fall on the township to find township attorney to prosecute those. So that's another expense that townships don't need, and I don't personally see that coming. I don't think that was the intention. That's where it stands right now. So long story short, we don't have a good way to continue on with the new plan of creating a new one because we're getting various levels of buy-in from townships, frankly, anyway. So the old one is in place. The sheriff said today in the meeting that he believes that he can initiate, or we asked him, how many new complaints with the manpower you've got in the process that's in place, how many do you feel like you could open new cases, because obviously there's several around the area that need attention. He thought between 20 and 30 in a month. So if that were true, not every township is going to take advantage of this. So I would expect that the townships that were interested could maybe get two new cases a month started and going, which would be a huge help, I believe. And he said that, he admitted and said that he believed that this hadn't had much attention in the past, and that in the last 3 to 6 months, they'd picked up the pace on this, and that he felt like they were making some headway. He acknowledged the Paris Road one and said that there's some work to do there, obviously, but he thinks that they've got a plan in place, and the judge and magistrate's on board to work with them on that as well. So I guess it's really kind of the best case solution right now is to stay the course with the current ordinance and see what the sheriff can do. So I would encourage you to turn those over to the sheriff's department. I mean, I'm not asking you to limit it to 2 a month, but go ahead and tell them about every one that you want addressed, and they'll go to work on them as time allows. And he reiterated that a couple times today, to call dispatch and report those, and they just need the address. They don't need anything else to do it. And as far as my colleague wanting more teeth in the ordinance, as far as the cost, because he believed the first time issue of $150 or whatever it is, and the second wasn't much, that people were more willing just to pay that and move on. He said that the judge on the last couple that they had done has got the ability to assess fines and costs, so he can add other fees on that, maybe $1,000, and he thought that was going to get people's attention. But then he also said, and that's a good point, we'd had a discussion about that, some townships have asked for maybe the idea that the fines and costs aren't assessed to the person, but used to buy or rent dumpsters or something that helps clean that up. So they said, that's their first initiative as well, or idea, that they're not looking to put people in jail or get a bunch of money on them, they just want compliance. So they'll go out and probably get some kind of a warning or attempt to get them to comply. They'll check on it again in 10 days or something. If there's no attempt to be made, that's when they'll issue the first citation, if you will, and then there's a process to come back again. But I think we're all on the same page. We just really want compliance. We're not trying to get in everybody's pocketbook. So I think it's a workable plan if all that holds true, and they can make some progress on it. But honestly, it's the only plan. He's holding all the cards. He's the enforcement agent. If we could get anything on the books we wanted, and if he doesn't choose to enforce it, it's no good. So this one he is willing to, and I think it's the best solution we could ask for at this point. So if we go down the road and we find that something happens and we have to punt or change gears, then I guess we will. But at this point, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, we'll go with the one we've got. So
Is that, can't be an ordinance, but whatever it is that available online
yes,
on the
and you guys.
county
You got copies of the new proposed one, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I can get the original one sent to everybody too. That's a good point.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And on that original one, it's the same as the new one. You can still have your zoning administrator, anyone you choose, working on that as well. There's enforcement options for other. It doesn't have to be the sheriff's department, but that's one tool that you can use if you need to. So that's really all I've got. I'd be glad to try and answer any other questions on either the fire department or the county. appreciate you having me on this early in the agenda. Pine Township meets the same night, and I need to try and juggle that. I've been in stand since 2 o'clock anyway, so. If you don't have anything else for me, I'm gonna go try and irrigate.
Can I ask a question to you? No? Yeah, to you, Dan.
That's all right.
Okay, so as far as the fines, and then will it go to civil court or circuit court for that in their ordinance, do you know?
It's just district court.
Just district?
Civil infraction.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I just have one. You had said that they'll continue to write citations on the current ordinance. Whose ordinance? Each township has their own,
This is the county blight ordinance.
on the county one. Okay, thanks, that's all.
Thank you.
All right, good. Good meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go save your corn. Report from the planning commission.
Yes,
Yes.
we got it. We actually come up with a good layout for the solar ordinance that we're writing.
Okay.
We've come up with the setbacks. I mean, we went right to town on this thing. I think we did a really good job on it. It's gotta get rewrote now, and then we'll go back over that, and hopefully we'll have something to turn in.
Okay.
So, the only other questions I did have on that was, what did we ever do on the, and maybe you can tell us more, but on the, proposed ordinance changes for our ordinance book? Ask Andy about that, and I'm just kinda wondering if we found anything more out about that.
Yes, we'll be working on that tonight. So,
Awesome.
Susan, remember I made copies of that, and I think it's sitting on the copier. So, because we just need to, they already had their, public hearing, so we just need to approve it,
Okay.
because there was no objections, and it's just, what it was, is going through the ordinance book and cleaning up language that was outdated, and taking out things that were like, you could only have a pool that had chlorine in it, and you couldn't use other chemicals, and it's like, well, who's inspecting that? I mean, yes, we made it sensible, so we just need to approve those, and then, we will get the notice that I have to put in the paper within 15 days. That says that we did these, and the lawyer will put that together. So, and I printed them off and forgot them. So Susan's getting that, so. we
Lot of
can-
clerical, from DEA to equal, or.
Yeah, changing the DEA, and then Mid-Michigan Health District, because they had it as health department, and just updating those terms is what it is, not even structural, it was just
No,
more,
there wasn't any real changes.
no.
Other than the swimming pool.
Some were drastic, some
Well,
weren't.
just more along the lines of sensible.
Yeah, taking out some things that just no longer applied.
There was one other question, and that was, we got special use on the Met Tower out there that's, I think, coming up due, that it's gonna expire, and I'm wondering what we should do about that.
Experience fire.
Give me
That
some advisement on that.
would be your zoning administrator, you'd have to look at the decommissioning, and then it's at the end of life, so it just have to be decommissioned, because it was only rented for so long.
So I'd have to get information from you, who I contact to inform them
Okay.
they have to decommission it.
How big all that paperwork?
Thanks, Roger. What?
That's it.
That's it? Very good, thank you. Report from the zoning administrator.
Okay, the month of April, I wasn't here, I'm sorry about that, but, for the month of April, there was a land division at 13167 West Briggs, and there was a new pole barn, 35/40 pole barn at 16526 West South County line. And then there's another land division at 4448 Ferguson. And that was it for the month of April. And then in May, there was at 1255 Marble Road, there's a pole barn. 16935 West Briggs, that was a garage. 2100 Kohler Road, the pole barn, that was for farm. And so they're exempt, but they still have to get a permit. And then, 13099 Cannonsville Road, there's a pole barn for farm put there too, which that's exempt from our fees, but they still have to get a permit. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So, since we're still kind of in the planning commission,
Okay.
the thing that you got was just kind of the summarized version of the changes of just changing, adding property line to a few things, because it didn't say, it said a setback, but it didn't say from where, so, and like I said, changing MNDR E to Eagle. And
I'm still reading.
okay.
So these are gonna go to the lawyer, and she's going to,
She already has one.
she has gone through these?
Yes, and they said it come back, and that's what they have to, the public hearing, and it was already done, so what we have to do is, they have no objection to the public hearing.
Okay,
So we just have to
so
say,
people are
yes,
okay with it?
Yes.
So all we gotta do is just okay it, right?
that's correct.
I accept the motion that we accept the changes to the ordinance book. I need to accept, I can't make a motion.
Okay, make a motion to accept the changes now.
And I'll support it.
Okay. We have a motion, we have support. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. That was a good one. We have a report from the community center.
Just had one rental in May, that was it.
And a report from the fire board.
Fire board report, the tender trucks are still being worked on. We had 3 runs in Maple Valley. A vehicle accident, a vehicle fire, and an illegal burn.
Are
Okay,
they giving out fire permits?
Pardon me?
Are they giving out fire permits, or is it
They give out 7 burn permits,
burn permits? Okay.
so they're still doing them in this weather?
evidently.
So there's not a burn ban?
Good,
No burn ban?
thank you.
No burn ban?
Oh, I'm certain there's a burn ban on. It's just you want a burn permit, they'll probably turn you down unless you've got a real good plan in place.
Oh, okay. So there are, yeah. Plan on having garden posts. No? Okay. Old business. We are in the process of doing a forensic review, and we got a, quote back from Hungerford Nichols. You want to explain that for us, Andy?
So Hungerford and Nichols came back with what they would go through and what their parameters are and what their billing rate was, and their retainer fee is $7,500 with a signed engagement letter. And then their term is between $270 and $340 per hour. And they have, I was looking to see what else. What they do is as they go through it, and if there's any things of concern that we'd like them to really look at, things like that were found during our QuickBooks review, we can have them look at that. But they also look at the policies, they also interview previous board members if they have to, you know, asking questions, and look at meeting minutes. And then during this time, as they do that, they also go through the policies and just kind of make sure that we have good policies in place and give suggestions. But they were the best ones as far as is a comprehensive proposal and started off at the lowest amount.
And they are proficient in,
Very proficient, and they have a team of 7 people that would work on it. So between, you know, they wouldn't all 7 work on it, but they have 7 of them, so they would have, I believe it sounded like they had 2 people that they would kind of assign, and then people would work out of that. And each month, it looks like they would give us a kind of a review as they're going through it, of what they found.
so we have an allocated amount of, how much? $20,000?
So I would like to make a motion that we accept the proposal bid from Hungerford and Nichols for the forensic review and for up to $20,000, which was put in our budget as a line item.
Can they do more for that amount?
Yes,
Or are they gonna get there and be like, yeah, well,
no. They, I mean, that's,
They gave us a verbal quote of their average, didn't they?
that is correct. So they said the average was between 12 and 15. But they start with a retainer of 75. And they said that they have it kind of down to, you know, they know how to do it very proficiently and efficiently to get through it.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Support. Okay, motion support. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can you do a roll call vote on that, please?
Huh?
Can you do a roll
Roll
call
call.
vote on that, please?
Want to call for a roll call vote? Okay. Lee?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Yes?
yes.
Yes. 6-4 no.
Thank you.
Okay. We had some vandalism in the park. We already have a security camera set up for our parking lots, but we had some vandalism in the park over here. And so Andy got a quote to expand what we have. You want to explain it?
So TKS came out and looked at what we have and looked at where we had vandalism in Coral Park last Saturday, where we had kids with baseball bats damaging our electrical boxes and outlets
Oh,
in the middle of the day. And of course, when parents were approached, they were told it wasn't my children. So, you know, one good way to divert that before we invest any money in the park would be, let's stop the damage and vandalism that we've been having and be able to take a picture to their parents and say, well, look, there's your smiling darling's face now. We can't dispute that. So he came out and looked at the location and gave his expert opinion of which way, you know, which type of camera he would recommend. And that's what you're looking at, and that second page is for, the extra camera. The camera he is proposing is a 180-degree camera. And then attached to that is, the proposed work that Ambo Electric would have to do previous to them being able to install the camera, because they have to have that electrical stuff done first. Of pulling another category 6 cable for them to install Wi-Fi receiver. And then within that, a quote from Ambo Electric that is also inspecting the electrical panel breakers and fixing what has been damaged.
The broken
Yeah.
receptacles.
Yeah, the broken receptacles, the broken box, because the box is all
There's a
sprung.
paint now with a baseball bat.
So, and to also inspect and test the security light that's over in Coral Park that has not been working. So, the TKS from them, the cost is $2,995. And for the electrical portion of that, is $1,600.
Can that come out of ARPA funds?
Yes, it can.
Now, is that just aiming towards the park then?
Yes, it would be in the park and it would cover the entire park.
What would it take to get something along like Main Street there, just in case something else happens?
We would have to ask them for an additional camera. We have one that goes down the front of the building right now, because we have to have that by law for our drop boxes for the ballots. And that gets almost the entire front of the building.
Okay. How far down the street will that reach?
That goes down and you can see in front of the garage doors.
Okay, so nothing like down the street, so if somebody come and vandalizes a restaurant or the bar.
No,
That should be their responsibility.
that's on them.
This is an ongoing thing, though, parents, we're going to parents sometime, and it's not my kid's not a kid. Of course.
That's what I'm saying. if you
That's
can
been
get
an
some
ongoing
kids
problem
somewhere
down there,
else.
yeah.
It's the same kids. You can't be kids.
Okay, so we could do this for the ARPA funds. Do we have any more discussion on this?
Yeah, I thought you guys froze the ARPA funds.
No,
Well,
A motion was made and seconded, I believe at the budget meeting.
no, there was no freezing of the ARPA funds. You're talking about the county ARPA funds. We put those into the park and it's set aside for the moment.
yes.
Okay.
And it was
For
just the county.
those are set aside for the parks.
All right.
But we have other ARPA funds that are
That are available.
federal, yep.
Have we got any problems reported in Truthman at that park?
Yes,
Do we have cameras over there already or not?
no,
What went on in Truth?
that's where the light pole that was holding up part of the swings was
Yeah,
taken down, there was live wires. That was earlier this spring.
it was, the pole was pretty rotted out.
So we don't know if
It
it's,
got, we don't know if it was just pushed over or what had happened, so. But-
because it was pretty rotten,
Yeah,
so it looked like it
so I
wasn't.
took it down and cleaned it up. I put a lock on the box so nobody could turn that wire while you wanted to buried it.
So I'd like to make a motion that we use ARPA funds to install a security camera system with the proposal from TKS and Ambo Electric.
Any support for that, okay? Any more discussion on that? Do you know how much we have left in the ARPA funds? That's what I'm looking for.
It's for,
Oh, of course it is, on the last page.
and I don't know if some of that miscellaneous income is interest or not, so I can't tell you that. And it will be,
ARPA expenditures.
$144,973.
And that has to be allocated by when?
I believe it's December 31st, 2024.
Okay, so then, okay,
I'll second the motion.
motion, we have second, discussion, no more discussion. We wanna do a roll call vote on this? Okay, Lee?
Yep.
Andy?
Yes.
I'll say yes. Tim? All four say aye, yes. That's a good thing to do. We've had trouble with that for quite some time.
Once you get cameras in, can you, prosecute the parents for the children's behavior?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Once you get the cameras in, once you catch them doing it, can you prosecute the parents for the kids' behavior? That's
We
what I'm
can,
wondering.
we can take it over to them and see what they will do with it.
Yeah, we can.
Can't guarantee,
We can turn
but
that over to the authorities.
We can at least turn it over to the authorities.
Okay. Would you like to present the cemetery rules and updates?
So, the rules and regulations for Coral and Truth Cemeteries haven't been updated since around 1985. And what Julie has found, which she couldn't be here this evening, is we had been charging $50 for one burial space for residents and then $400 for non-residents, but the rules and regulations hadn't reflected that. So what we have done is updated the rules so that it reflects what currently has been being charged and also delineate that what could happen in one of those spaces, because there was nothing saying that, like for one space, we have proposed that we have one full casket burial and up to 4 cremation burials, because that is what is typical and they can handle. Or one space, you can allow 6 cremational burials to be in that one space. The rest of the rules, we didn't change. I mean, they're pretty much, that's everything that has been happening. The other thing, we added the additional rules of, flowers and decorations, need to be removed by October 1st and March 31st, and if not, then it can be removed by the cemetery personnel for, fall cleanup and spring cleanup. But that's what I'm presenting to you is the rules and regulations, just so that we can have them updated with the prices that have been currently being charged, because they just weren't updated, and we didn't want to put rules out that didn't have current stuff.
Is there any rules in there about planting trees or anything?
That is correct. There is no planting of trees or shrubbery, and it's very,
Unless it's in containers.
unless it's in containers, that is correct.
We've got a couple that Steve cut down. They were thrown into the stones pretty bad
Yes.
from 30, 40 years ago. I want to avoid that.
But that's what we just want to make sure that these are updated. So I would like to make a motion to accept the changes of what I just said in rule number 1, just making sure that they were updated to the current, the prices that were, that's what we had been charging, but they, like I said, they were still set from 1985 when we pulled these rules and regulations. So, and every time somebody purchases a space, they're given these rules so that they know. Because we've been selling a lot of spaces lately and getting a lot of corrected deeds out to people, so that if they've had grandparents who purchased stuff and they've passed, so that they're getting stuff in their names, so that we know who is going to be owning those spaces. And we have another demonstration of cemetery software. On June 30th, we've already had one, and they're putting together a proposal. But we had to give them a lot of information, take pictures of what we have so they could see what we're working with. Because, like I said, the software that we currently have is no longer supported. It's on a 15-year-old laptop that could collapse at any time, and we can't back it up, and we can't add things to it, and we can't create new maps showing the updated spaces. So that's why we're getting quotes from other cemetery software programs, so that we can get it online, and then eventually, so people can actually see where everything is. And we'll be hopefully presenting that stuff to you guys in July, because Julie and I are attending a cemetery management class in June 21st.
So you want your cemeteries looking nice, we're working it. They're working at it very, very hard.
You got one rule we forgot to put on there.
What's that?
They're not allowed in the cemetery from sunset to sunrise.
Oh, that is on the big ones in the cemeteries themselves.
Cemetery rules.
Yep, It's on the cemetery rules on the board,
You guys are gonna put on everything about that,
so.
everything at the gate, not something anymore.
Have you checked with other townships to see what they use and what, if there's, what they like or don't like about it, or prices?
About software?
About the software, yeah,
Yes.
okay, I was just curious.
So that's my motion, is I'd like to make a motion that we accept the changes to the rules and regulations, and then I can get those put in the newsletter that's going out to everybody and up on the website.
We have a motion, we have a second?
So we seconded.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Oh, this is going good.
So the next thing about the cemeteries is the wells. We did get water and Coral. Coral is up and running. The next thing that we'll be working on is removing all of the spigots that go between the rows of everything. We're just gonna unscrew them, pull them off, or cut them off however we need to, because they are so broken and we don't know where the leaks are. But once he shut the valve off that fed all of those, the pump primed right up, started, so we added a new spigot that just comes out the front of the building, and there are jugs there for everyone to use if they need water for live flowers. And then circling back to Trufant, Trufant is a completely different story. As we know, last September, Mr. Benton was here and said that he had made changes to there, and that all we had to do is flip the water on, and that we had new spigots, and that was not the case, because nothing had been done to either cemetery, and if it had been, they would have realized that Trufant, there was no water. The well is no good. So nothing had been done. So I had Dean Bartlett come out and check the wells over. He does well repair. The 2-inch well at Trufant is either a plugged screen, hole in the drop pipe, or a plugged jet. I had Thompson Well Drilling come out. They looked at it. They said, with the age and the condition of the pipe, if they pull it and if it comes up clean, you know, and it's not a hole in the drop pipe, that'd be great, but if it's a plugged jet, you're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 minimum, if they can get their rig in there because of how the well is located and where the graves are around it. So there's a few different things to do with that. We can decide if we'd like to put a new well in, which if we do that, we have to move the well. It will be a 5-inch well that we have to put in, because nobody puts 2-inch wells in anymore. Thompson is getting a quote for us on that. My suggestion is that money could be well spent on taking out more trees in the cemetery, updating the driveways. We're gonna have to do lots of excavating on the back half of Trufant eventually, because we're running out of room. So if we wanna have water in Trufant, I say we get a 250-gallon tote, have fire department fill it, have it gravity fed with a little spigot on there.
Let's find out what the cost is to pull the 2-inch, replace the screen and put it back, just that.
That's what they
Because-
said. It's about $3,000.
You
Is-
could replace the entire pump and everything for that kind of money.
Well, I'm just going by what Thompson will, because they're the only ones around that have a
would
rig
work on
that
a
will work
2-inch.
on 2-inch. Nobody else will work on them,
You ever pulled a well?
Several.
Wanna do
so.
it?
No.
So I'm just telling you what they said, and their rig is the smallest one around, and getting it navigated to between the graves that are there and where it's located. They said they could do it, it's going to be tricky if we do, but that was their professional opinion of, with the age of it, they weren't sure if it was fixable and the condition of it. And if we, and if it wasn't viable, then we'd have to go on to a new one. And if we did that, we would have to also move the electric, which is in your packet from Amble Electric. There is a quote in there to move the power from the current Sexton shed to the other Sexton shed.
Let me take that shit down.
Well, the newest one doesn't have anything in it, right?
That is correct. It is
Supplement
empty,
power to it.
yes, but getting power to it is not going to be cheap either.
Right.
It's $4,300 is the
Take
proposed.
the trench and do all
That
that.
is correct. for, then that's what the electric proposal you have from there. But I'm just bringing you information. This is what I found in the Cemetery Adventures of May of 2023, because that's where my husband and I spent our entire month, is at
Are
the
we
cemeteries.
looking at bids to get the driveways?
I have not, but I'm just saying that that was one of the things that, as I've been in the cemeteries, a few of the people, and noticing, just pulling in and out of there, that the driveways need some TLC.
Oh, yeah, it's a
They're-
rodeo.
Yeah, and if you have a handicap van trying to get in there, good luck,
Right.
because some of those drives got some pretty deep ruts. So I'm just throwing out ideas of, these are some things that thought of that we could, like I said, I don't have the quote back from Thompson about putting a new well in. They were gonna look at it because the well would have to be moved, and they would have to look at the health department requirements of where they have to put it, because you're dealing with it being in a cemetery.
What was that one suggestion that you made about,
Yeah.
Was it really?
what was the suggestion you made about putting in a thing for the fire department to fill?
Just like a 250-gallon tote up on a stand of some fashion
That makes
With,
a lot of sense to me.
with a spigot with a hose on it that,
Yeah,
It's water.
that sounds.
it's water. That's what I'm saying is, it seems quite silly to spend, let's just say 15 grand on a well. I'm just throwing a number out. It seems kind of silly to spend that kind of money on a well that is only used from May to August and barely at that.
And then plus we'd have to put it down for the winter.
Exactly. It'd have to be serviced in the winter, in the fall,
Then at
and have to be opened back up in
250,
the
that makes sense.
spring. So, I'm just saying, those are food for thought.
I'd rather see the drives fixed first and,
I personally would too. I mean, right now, there hasn't been water in Trufen Cemetery, and I think we figured it's been six or 7 years.
that screen's probably rusted right shut.
Exactly. And so, I mean, at this point, everyone's used to taking water out to Trufen. It's a gift that we got it in Coral. I mean,
It wasn't bad.
no, so it was either, but that's what I wanted you guys to think about, and like I said, once I get quotes back, I'll let everybody know. But that was kind of where we're standing at with Trufen, and I didn't know if you guys wanted me to go ahead with getting quotes on a new well, or do we want to, how do we want to address it? Yeah, we can, I mean, by the flagpole. The flagpole does have I ordered and put up a solar light on the flagpole, since there was no electric over there, and it works.
really like the flags up by the road too, they thought really nice.
The flags out by the road were courtesy of Dan Vincent. He brought them and installed them at Coral and at Trufen, and those were a donation from him. He brought them from Rockford. So he went and installed them, so those are ours to put up every year.
Oh, that's nice.
Do we have to take those down on Flag Day?
Yes. So, and all the flags will be taken down right after Flag Day and will be stored until next year, which that is proper flag protocol until Veterans Day. And then they're up for one day, and then they go back down and are put away again. So we're not buying new flags every year. But it's also proper flag etiquette.
So this first part here is 4,300. What's the other part here for the?
Oh, that one
power
is,
line?
the other part on Amber Electric on the Coral, that's for the power poles going up and down Coral, because some of them don't work. Some of them are wired directly from the wires, and that's what everyone had asked to see if we could get those fixed.
Was the, those are for the decorations?
For the decorations. It's right here on the back. It is not to, it's time and materials not to exceed 2,400, because some of those wasn't quite sure what was gonna take for those. So if those were under new business, we can discuss that now if you want. But he just didn't, they were on the same proposal, so that's why I did two different things on that.
So back to the well thing, are we good with the pump thing then?
Yeah, so what do you wanna do about the well? Do we want to explore that, or do you want to ixnay it and just try to get a tote of some kind out there and,
Are they saying the well pump is shot?
No.
Or just well?
no, the well is,
The well, so.
the well itself, he got it primed and it took more than 5 minutes to barely get a quarter of a milk jug of water.
Oh, so there's water down there.
There's water, but again, it's the jet or the screen, or there might be a hole in the drop pipe. I mean, these are all things, those are all scenarios, but you don't know until you pull it, and that was, their suggestion was, if they pull it, the age of everything, it may fall apart when they pull it up,
The screen usually does.
and that's what they're saying, it's going to be $2,000 to $3,000.
Galvanized pipe is usually rock solid.
Yeah, so,
So you
And
think
not
the
knowing.
outside casing will be fine?
I think the pipe will be fine, just the point that's on it's probably no good.
The point or the foot valve? It's a deep well.
How deep?
Well, I
Nobody
mean,
knows
it's got
because
this
it's
jet
can't
at the
pull it.
bottom. Instead of at the top, it's not a shallow well.
So you're saying the pump is buried?
No,
No.
the jet is at the bottom.
the jet and the screen are at the bottom.
Right.
So.
Pump is at the top.
Shallow
Yes.
well, yeah, the shallow well. the
And
jet
it's-
is at the top.
Cobbled together at best. I'm using their words, not mine.
So there's an inner pipe and an outer pipe.
Well, I repaired the one at the old Hanson farm, and it wasn't that terrible.
Wasn't it? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we're sharing the same ground and the same water, essentially.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I pulled the one up on mine 3 years ago.
the screens, that because of the iron content in our water, they get so,
Rusted.
if they're not being used and there's no flow, they just rust right shut. Then you ain't getting past that, you know?
Ask the guys. You can ask the
Yeah,
guys.
we could throw some, new,
Pellets,
yeah, acid
Try
down there.
that.
was it worth spending all that money, Tim, on something you already used 2 months out of the year?
Well, I
Go
mean,
right back to that, you know?
Well, a tank doesn't cost that much.
I think we need to move forward with the electricity, I think we need to move forward with repairing the roads in and out of the cemetery and cleaning
you
them
know,
all
about
up
letting us go over to the new building then?
over to the Sexton building.
Yeah.
For the new one.
I think we need to start fixing our cemeteries up, sure, because they're
Yeah.
in dire straits.
So is that your motion, that you'd like to go ahead with the proposed moving of the power?
I think that my motion would be to accept Anvil Electric's, proposal for the streetlights in Coral and also the cemetery, wiring to the Sexton building, and then we'll get that completed and out of the way.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Some of these, projects for ARPA funds have to be done.
So, and your motion is
When the
to
ground is
accept
up.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, accept this and with ARPA funds.
Yes.
Okay,
That's a good, that's a good.
I will second your motion.
Any more discussion on that? So your motion is to, read the motion back, please.
The motion is to accept the proposal from Amble Electric for moving the power in Truffant Cemetery to the new Sexton shed from the old building, and to fix the power poles for the holiday lights in downtown Coral.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's another good business done.
Just, who did you say was gonna drop that drum off?
Nobody yet, because it was my suggestion, I'm just throwing wild ideas out.
That's a pretty good idea.
Well, actually, it was my husband's idea,
Good idea, Dan.
because he was thinking about some of the toasts that they have over at the farm, and so we're just trying to find something that would, it'd be an economical solution.
If you really stop to think about it, if you look at the cemeteries, there's not that many real flowers.
There isn't, and there's a lot of cemeteries that are going away from having a well because of the maintenance and the cost associated with it.
And what few are in Truphant, David Musser waters them, and they pay him to do that. So,
That's true. I saw him.
yeah.
So that was part of the thing, was if we had a tote, we could put a tote out there that had water, so, you know.
And I mean, easy to store in the winter,
Yep,
Put
and
it
once
back
it's
up.
gone, it's, you know, we can have it filled again, or if it's at the end of the season, it's empty and.
just
you're
hang
done.
some milk jugs on it and away they go. So,
Probably one of them big, totes from Nutrien, they give those away if you ask for
Mm-hmm,
Oh, there you
them.
go.
There's 300 gallons.
mm-hmm.
There you go, you can ask for that.
Make sure they got round, I think.
Yeah,
Killing everybody's flowers.
yeah. We might wanna get
Thanks,
something
Sarah.
that didn't have it.
I was gonna offer the tote I got behind my garage, but I'm not sure what was in it, that's why I didn't say it.
Might look bad. Here's some water, but it killed everything you water.
Wash your face with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna look into the totes you wanted these.
I'll let, Tim, do you wanna look into getting a tote?
Sure.
Okay, I'll let Tim do that.
Excellent.
I'll ask Jake for another one.
There you go. And we'll figure out, well, and you're an
Without
engineer.
Roundup in it.
I'll clean it out in my driveway. I spray that anyway.
That's great, that's good.
What about,
Okay, we beat the seminaries to death.
Okay, yep.
what about getting proposals for the driveways over there for the fill?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
So I will, who do you want me to call for proposals? I'll just,
Get your quickest one.
So would we do, gravel and grade?
mhm.
Do, would the road commission do that?
I doubt it.
Write it down.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll call it.
There's a lot of road guys that run around and do that. Stevens Boys Contracting can help you.
You have a contact for them?
Yeah, I do.
Farms excavating. Hear that one, Ian?
What?
Pleasant Valley Farms excavating. That's that Jesse Evans over there at Five Corners. We got, what, picture, you know?
Powell's does it too.
Okay. I will call and get us some proposals, so we can review those and get that done this summer.
Or we can call it special business.
Oh, yeah, once I get them, I will let you know.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good idea, good suggestion. New business.
Township-wide fall cleanup date has been set for September 14th from 8 AM to noon.
Your
We have
paper
one-
says
No,
October.
Oh, sorry.
Is it October? or
It is
September?
October. I misspoke. Just read what I wrote. We are going with Pure Snow Plowing and Lawn Care. They are gonna be the ones that are gonna provide the labor. They are the ones that gave us the quote this spring. Nelson Township just used them and they got rave reviews. They're $600 a dumpster, so it's only like, it's $150 more a dumpster than what we paid Republic. And they provide all the manpower, they sort it out, they help people load and unload, and they take the dumpsters away that day as they get full. So,
It's a little better service.
so a little bit better, so it's not sitting here all weekend, and,
Dumpster divers.
yeah. And so they are all set up, that information will also be in the newsletter going out to everybody, so that they know how to access that, and it'll be out there. I might as well keep rolling on with new business. As I stated in my clerk's report, is we do have the new web address, so that's on there for everybody to do. And it's live, we're working on it, all the information is updated on there. And working on getting more stuff on there daily,
That looks nice. Very
so,
nice.
thank you. Can't wait for you guys to see everything on there. So, and we've already done the electrical proposal.
Yep, we're done with that. Oh, yes. Go ahead, you present that.
Street sweeping, we can get that done, through the road commission. They have a contract with Sandy Sweep, and it's around $150 an hour. And all we have to do is contact the road commission, and Mark will set it up. We just need to tell them if we wanna do just main streets in Coral and Truffin, or if we want all streets done. And when we'd like them done, so like if we wanna have Truffin swept before Jubilee, we call them. Yep, so we can either do it once or twice, it's what we wanna do. as far as getting them swept. If we wanna do all the streets, so we just know it's about $150 an hour.
Do they have any idea how long it takes to do it?
If we do just main streets, it's around an hour and a half. And then obviously if we add side streets, it's more.
I think we should at least do our main streets where all the customer people.
And down A Street, where all the stuff's set up,
Yeah.
in front of the fire
in front of the
department.
fire barn.
Down to the-
yes.
down as far as the old elevator, or the
T.
lumber company.
That big T there
Yeah.
where all the businesses are.
Yep,
And maybe down to the hardware too.
sure.
So somebody wanna make the motion, or do you want me to make the motion to Trufit Suites, street sweeping? Do you wanna do Main Street? A Street? Anything else?
Local casinos to the pavilion beyond there.
What do you wanna do from,
And
Yeah,
here in
so-
Coral, where we,
Do Main Street.
Oh, the casino right to the lower.
yeah, pretty much.
okay. Or do you wanna do from the gas station to the old lumber company?
Well, they use, you know,
In front of the ball field?
they have the ball fields and stuff there, that would be nice to have that as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're about in town here.
I would say just Main Street would be
Yeah, I agree.
great, and Main Street in our parking lot maybe?
Probably from Kendallville to Coral Road. And our parking lot, yes. In front and out here.
You gotta walk that day, Andy.
Say what?
Gotta walk that day, Andy.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so motion is to contract with road commission to have the street swept in Trufant. When would we like to have that done? What date? Do we want to have that done twice? Do we want to have it done once?
It'd be nice if we had it done before Columbus Day.
And I'm talking Trufant.
We wanna do it twice between now and the Jubilee?
Do you wanna do it, what do you want?
What do the roads look like? Are they a mess?
No.
They're not bad? Corals are horrible.
Can you do Coral one day and Trufant another day, or do they both have to be done on the same day?
No, they can be done separate, because we
Yeah.
just arrange what we
Sun,
want.
I would say by the 1st of June every year, everything is settled down by then. The farmers are done planting typically, you know.
So I'm talking about right now, though, when do we want to have Trufant done? Do you want to have it done in August 1st? Do you want to have it done
1st of
August,
July,
1st of July?
prior
For
to
Trufant,
holiday weekend.
yeah, let's do it before Labor Day, or, yeah, you know what I mean,
And then
before
Au-
Jubilee.
And then before Jubilee, again, August 30th?
She said they weren't real bad, so I mean, if you.
I wouldn't bother with them right now. I mean, I don't think they're bad. I seen, the bar and, the barber shop lady and Kathy shoveling all the dirt from in front of the lip up to the sidewalk, so that's been already cleaned. But I think if you went from A Street down past the church to where the parade comes out of from the flea market. So,
Okay, so we'll do it by June 30th of this year. And then we can set up something for next year, earlier. Okay, so that's my motion. Is to have everything swept by June 30th of this year.
You have a second?
Yep, or.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then there's a, MTA meeting, it's the Montcalm MTA meeting is June 20th in Stanton, and the information is in your packets. And you just have to RSVP by June 15th if you would like to attend.
Is that it then? Wow, what time is it? Okay, time for public comment. Yes, ma'am.
Jan Olson, Maple Valley. I just want to comment about the road brining. I understand that it's been super dry, and so that's why it didn't work near as well this time. But they did a really bad job compared to what they have done in the past.
I thought so too, but I didn't know if it was dry or not.
They, normally, by our house, we live on Marble. Normally, they come by with two trucks, one following the other, and they go both directions. They go down and then they come back. This time, they had one truck, and it went down and came back, and they didn't even cover the entire road when they came back. There's like a section like that on one side of the road that they didn't even cover. But, so I don't know if we are having to pay more money to them, but they should at least do a more sufficient job than what they did. It didn't seem like it took them near as long to drive down and back either. So I think the guy was going faster. I don't think they spread as much, really. But I just thought you should know that as well.
Yeah, we're paying for that service, thank you.
Yeah.
What's up, Kevin?
I think a priority should be to either eliminate the treasurer, do something. I mean, you guys can't sit back and not pay bills. I mean, that's terrible.
How's this
It
gonna
really
work with
is.
summer taxes going out?
I mean, whether it's, have the police check for goodwill, Best Bean, is she okay? You know, is she ignoring you? There has to be some legal action that you could take. I know it's a burden, but it's very important.
We are new at this, so we're kind of confused about it too. We have no recourse. The only recourse we have is if the governor gets rid of her. Other than I mean, we can fill out the paperwork, get that, I mean, by then our taxes are all done and everything. We really didn't understand how much, we don't, as a community, understand how much we are at the mercy of the public, elected officials. We learned a lot, Andy learned a lot about that.
Or in her case, appointed.
Yes, appointed. Tell a story about the treasure that you learned about at the
Well, it was a clerk that at another township, she literally hasn't shown up for 21 months, and they've had to pay her the entire time, and they cannot, but their community hasn't done a recall or anything, but they cannot do anything, they have to pay her, and they've had to hire an outside firm to come in and pay their bills, which I'm not sure how they did that, but they had to get lawyers involved and cost a lot more money about that, so it's.
So let's be careful who we elect.
That's too late
Yeah, well, she was appointed.
by her husband.
Not even a recall takes so much time.
Well, it wouldn't be until November.
If that,
Mm-mm.
so.
How about Wayne?
Can't
Well,
do
yeah,
anything
but
Can she come
to
in?
anybody up there.
Oh, that's right.
we have no access to her stuff.
How long has
She's
it
the
been that
treasurer,
she
that's her
won't
authority.
return calls or anything?
Huh?
How long has it been since she's not answered anybody?
May 12th.
Oh, really?
She has an office, right? Paid for.
Yeah, we're paying for her office and her home, yes.
Don't malfeasance.
Huh?
Don't malfeasance.
No, there's
Nope.
nothing we can,
Trust me, those
we
questions were
have
asked to
we
the
have been
attorney.
talking to the lawyer extensively about this. Yes, sir.
My name is Bill Davis. I don't think there's too many of you know me, but I live right in Truman. I live on Kohler Road, and that's the road right, goes up and down by storage units and all that. It's Kohler Road there. And, I live right across from the Mexican restaurant. But I also live right there by a racetrack. What I'd like to do, it's a 25 mile an hour speed zone down through there. And we have a lot of kids playing out there on that road. I'd like to see if we could get one of these signs like Sand Lake and Cedar Springs has got where it tells you how fast you're going. 'Cause I've seen guys go out through there with motorcycles, and I think they've been doing probably 80 with them. I seen a guy with a sports car go down through there, he had to be doing 60, and I'm just afraid that we got so many kids there, one of them's gonna get hit.
Robin and I were just talking about that this morning, putting some of those signs, radar signs up, to better, make our community safe.
Well, there was just a speed bump thing that flashes,
Yeah,
was set up in front of Ralph Krantz's for the whole week. And now there are, on Main Street, new signs that say 25 miles an hour.
okay.
So,
did-
but I don't know about in his direction,
Oh, okay.
so.
All we got is one little 25-mile-an-hour speed zone.
And the tree hangs over it, so you can't even see it. So I seen it today.
Going out the other way is 35 mile an hour.
Right.
Okay, so new signs, and we'll look, we're actually, I haven't talked to you yet about it. I've been thinking about the radar signs that flash the speed limit.
Yeah.
A lot of times people just need to be reminded.
Yeah, everybody do.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yep, yep.
On Fourth Street from F down to C, that's like a speedway too.
Yeah,
Thankfully, we don't have many kids that live on that stretch, but.
it doesn't
still,
matter if we have kids living there, we have
That's
people
true.
running all over town, it's not
25
good.
is 25, and that is posted, but you see the wrap her up and go.
Okay. Speed is our next problem. Yes, Meg?
Megan Booth, Maple Valley. I just wanted to address, I guess, my peers in the community, it's not really the board. Tomorrow, we're having a clarity hearing in Stanton at 11:30 a.m. At the county clerk, like the clerk's building on the 3rd floor. I filed a petition for recall of Mary Ann Schwant as treasurer. So if you do feel strongly about it, please show up. That's all.
Good, good. Thank you, Lee. Robin?
Yeah, I was just wondering that, after I was reading the Daily News a few weeks ago, I was just wondering if any of you know if Mary Ann has a lockbox or if our township owns a lockbox.
No, we do not. I mean, not that, I don't know
Not
if
that
she
we know.
does. I have no idea. I know that we don't have one in the office, but I don't handle cash. I mean, I get checks that come through the mail that are filled out with a deposit slip that go to the treasurer. But
So we have no idea when she collects the taxes here, what she puts that money in to transfer it from A to B, and then from B to C. And in Crystal, they had money from their taxes missing, and their insurance company would not cover it because they did not have a lockbox. So I feel it'd probably be kind of a good idea if we asked if she would answer, or just purchase one and say here.
Thank you, Robin. Penny?
Penny Bassett, Maple Valley. Pat Carr was asking about Coral Days, and the board knows nothing about it. As in the past on Coral Days, the hall has been opened for that. I don't even know who runs the hall anymore. Have they contacted the board? Should that not be going through the board for the hall to be open? Because I don't know when Coral Days is, but if they're doing it when they normally do, it's the 3rd weekend of June.
we have heard, I have seen Mr. Kevin, whomever he is, one time he said it was June 24th, but he wasn't sure because he was trying to organize it. He asked about the availability of the hall, and I said, I believe it may already be rented. And I told him that if he wanted to rent it, that he could, sign a rental agreement, and he was not willing to sign a rental agreement to utilize the building, and we haven't heard anything from them. And
When I heard, they just started having meetings there last month, not that one, they just started meeting with 3 people there.
yeah,
So I don't think it's gonna fall through.
yeah, I think it's gonna fall through.
Oh,
They
I
have
was-
had meetings, I mean, so,
I was just asking because Pat had brought it up, so I thought maybe something was said somewhere, and
Nope.
I know that in the past, this building has been utilized for different, like, there's been cookers out here that have plugged in here and used the facilities, and I just thought the board should know if that was the case. My next question is, with the cemeteries and the rules, are you going to be putting new billboards up with the new, some of the new rules you added, or is it just gonna be,
We're going to have, they're like real estate brochure holders that will have a printed copy like this on each sexton building that will say, please take one. That will say rules and regulations of that. And we'll be presenting more stuff in July
okay?
because we don't have that information yet.
And the next thing is really for all the residents or anybody to share with anybody. The Dandelion Chapel is doing services on Sunday evening, over there in the tents, so people don't, because some people don't like to walk into churches. At 7 PM, they're having music, worship, and hot dogs, chips, and drinks. It's all free to anybody, and it's from started the first Sunday of June, and it goes until September. So if anybody would like to stop over and meet the pastor over there, he's a very nice guy. Community members from the park, anybody, please feel free to know that they are opening this to the public and would love to meet everybody, whether you're Truthant, Coral, Howard City, Lakeview, it doesn't matter. They are super nice people. So, anybody that would just want a free hot dog Sunday nights. If you don't want to pay for supper, take the family over there. They're very gracious people.
Yes, he is, very nice guy. Thank you. In
Yep.
fact, he was one that reported the broken,
Yep,
Vandalism.
vandalism at the park, yep.
Did a good job, getting rid of the boys very nicely.
And they watch the park a lot.
They do, yep. Vicki,
Vicki Douglas, Maple Valley. The information that's going in the newsletter with the taxes, will that include something like the blight ordinance will start being enforced? And will it have like the cemetery updates on it?
It's gonna have cemetery updates, it's gonna have the new rules and regulations of the cemeteries. It's gonna have new website stuff. I did not have anything planned to put in there about the blight, because we don't have anything back.
But you were gonna put something in there about fall cleanup, right?
Yes, fall cleanup
Fall
is in there
cleanup,
already.
I would if you could, just mention it, that, blight ordinances, blight ordinance will start being enforced.
The sad thing is with that, Vicki, they don't care.
Huh?
The sad thing is with it, they don't care. That's the sad thing. They've been reported several times, they've been asked several times, they don't
Yeah.
care. It's going to be still there.
And then, just to have it on record, on your monthly transactions, March 17th, Andy gave Mary Ann money to put in the tax account to refund me from since like December, because my property was reassessed. She still hasn't paid me. So, I just want it to be on record that, Andy gave her the money in March, it's June, and it's not a lot, it's principal. So, I just want that on record.
And it was on the back of our bills that month to be paid.
Yeah. That's all.
any more? Okay, Roger, what do you got?
Hey, can we get a clock for out here?
How about an alarm clock so we can shut it right down at 1 hour?
I think the cemetery looks good, it does. I mean, the only other thing I was wondering about up there was, measuring out for grave sites themselves. How are they doing that? I mean,
Oh, we got an up-to-date GPS system. That's the sheet.
Call the tape measure.
We're working on that.
Yep.
That was a question that was asked of our grave digger, because he does not measure it out, he just walks it. And we're looking at getting stones so that we can have the rows delineated, because again, some of them are, some of them aren't. And we have headstones that grow crooked, so that is part of all of our stuff that will be coming.
There are markers out there.
Yes, it's just finding them and making sure that he's using them. Because
right in.
they haven't been being used.
Thank you.
So, we're working on it.
Doing a great job.
They're working hard on it. Any more? Yes, Ann?
Okay, I have an idea that I hope you'll all consider seriously. Now that the Scout Building and Troopment has been removed, there's a cement platform left behind. And I know that some time ago, there was a dust up about the Veterans Park and the family of John Sorensen who wanted to break that lease in order to remove the Veterans Park from the property for their own use. So how about if we use that cement area at Peterson Park to be turned into the Veterans Park? Memorial items at the current location could be moved there, plant a couple of trees for shade, put some benches around the perimeter of the platform, and erect the flagpole also. I'm sure that the platform would need to be checked to make sure it's safe, but it seems like a nice place to consider this possibility. More people would see the memorial that honors the veterans of our area for the sacrifice they and their families make for the freedoms we all enjoy. And I know this would end up breaking the agreement that Mr. Sorensen made for the use of his property, but then the memorial park could be appreciated by folks who honor those sacrifices. And I think that perhaps that was the goal that Mr. Sorensen wanted to see. I also know that this would take some time to get these things completed at the park, so the lease would need to remain in place for the next year or two while the work is completed, and then John Sorensen's family could have the property to build on and use as they please, while still having a nice area to honor Mr. Sorensen's wishes for a Veterans Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Stephen Polson, Maple Valley Township. That was signed in 1944 for 99 years. A little more than a year ago, that was taken over to Stanton and heard by a jury. And I testified on it, and so did Lee Franson. And that was supposed to stay the same the way Mr. Sorensen wrote it up, which is good for another 20 years or so.
Is it? Okay. Thank you. I don't know where that is.
Right next to the church, Troopment.
Any more? Well, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.